Confidence isn't loud, it doesn't need applause, it doesn't beg for attention. Confidence, real confidence, is quiet, still. It comes from within, not from what you wear, who approves of you, or how many people clap when you walk into a room. And no philosophy understood that better than Stoicism. The Stoics didn't chase image. They didn't try to impress the crowd. They focused on one thing: mastering the inner world, because that's where true power lives. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, yet wrote to himself in private about humility, discipline, and the battle within. Epictetus was born a slave, but taught that no one could enslave your mind unless you let them. Seneca, surrounded by wealth, reminded himself that simplicity brings freedom, not status. They believed that confidence isn't something you fake, it's something you forge. You don't build it by pretending to be someone else. You build it by becoming less reactive and more rooted in what you can control. And in this video, we're going to break down 3 timeless Stoic principles that will help you build unshakable confidence, not in what the world gives you, but in how you stand, respond, and choose to live. This isn't about motivational hype. It's about remembering that who you are, your actions, your discipline, your mindset, is more important than any external label you'll ever chase. Let's begin. Part 1. Let go of what's not in your hands. How much time do you spend worrying about things you can't control? Other people's opinions, what they might say, what they might think. What if it goes wrong? What if they leave? What if I fail? You spiral. You rehearse conversations that may never happen. You imagine the worst. You carry scenarios in your head like they're real, and they start to weigh you down like bricks in a backpack. But here's the truth that Stoicism teaches us. If it's not in your hands, it shouldn't be in your head. You cannot control the outcome. You cannot control how they see you. You cannot control what life throws at you tomorrow, next week, or next year. But you can control this moment. You can control how you respond. You can control your effort. You can control your values, your preparation, your mindset. That's where confidence begins, not by predicting the future, but by anchoring yourself to the present. When you obsess over things beyond your reach, you weaken yourself, because you've handed your peace to something that can move, change, or disappear. The Stoics understood this. They didn't waste energy on what they couldn't influence. If the weather was bad, they adjusted. If someone insulted them, they stayed composed. If fate was cruel, they reminded themselves, "This is not mine to control, but my attitude still is." Think about that for a moment. What if you started measuring success not by what happens, but by how you show up? You stop asking, "Did they like me? Did everything go perfectly? Did I win?" And instead you ask, "Did I do my best? Was I aligned with my principles? Did I stay grounded when things got messy?" Because that's real power. That's confidence built from the inside out. It doesn't shake when people leave. It doesn't crumble when things don't go your way. It holds because it's not based on outcomes, it's based on ownership. So if you want to build unshakable confidence, you need to simplify. Draw a mental circle around the things that are yours. Your actions, your choices, your character. Everything else, let it go. Not because it doesn't matter, but because worrying won't help. You can't control if someone ghosts you, but you can control how you handle it, with dignity or with desperation. You can't control if a job offer falls through, but you can control whether you stay stuck or pivot forward. You can't control if life is fair, but you can choose to be resilient anyway. The Stoics had a word for this mindset: dichotomy of control. And once you truly accept it, life gets lighter. Not easier, but clearer. You stop wasting your energy on storms you can't stop. You focus on how you steer your ship instead. That's what confidence really is. Not knowing you'll win, but knowing you'll stand tall no matter what happens. So next time your mind starts racing, ask yourself, is this mine to carry? Or am I holding something that doesn't belong to me? And if it's not yours, drop it. Free your hands, free your mind, because you have better things to do than suffer over things you cannot change. Part 2. Don't react. Respond with strength. It happens fast. A comment, a message, a look, and suddenly your chest tightens, your face gets hot. You feel disrespected, dismissed, or triggered. And before you even realize it, you've reacted. Words fly out. You defend yourself. You match their tone. You say something you didn't mean. And after it's over, you replay it in your head, wishing you had handled it better. We've all been there. That's because reaction is emotional. It's automatic. It's primal. But response is something higher. It's conscious. It's controlled. It's calm, even when things around you aren't. The Stoics made this distinction very clear. You may not control what happens, but you always control how you respond. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your power is not in the event. It's in the pause that comes after. That tiny moment where you feel the urge to explode, defend, lash out, and instead you take a breath. You create space between the trigger and your response. And in that space, you choose who you want to be. That's where real strength lives. Reacting is easy. Anyone can do that. But responding with clarity, especially when you're hurt, disrespected, or misunderstood, that takes discipline. That takes self-trust. And it builds confidence. Why? Because every time you remain calm under pressure, you prove something to yourself. I'm not at the mercy of my emotions. I can feel something deeply and still act with wisdom. You don't have to shout to be strong. You don't have to be aggressive to be respected. You don't have to win every argument to have inner peace. The Stoics taught that emotions are natural, but they should be guided by reason, not chaos. Marcus Aurelius would write to himself, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." You have the power to revoke this at any moment. In other words, it's not just about what happened. It's about what you told yourself it meant. So, someone criticizes you. Do you let it ruin your day? Or do you pause, reflect, and ask, is this useful feedback or just noise? Someone ghosts you. Do you spiral? Or do you remind yourself, their actions don't define my worth? You get bad news. Do you panic? Or do you say, this is hard, but I will meet it with strength? Confidence comes from consistency. Consistently choosing the higher road, not because it's easy, but because you respect yourself too much to lose control over temporary emotion. Every time you respond instead of react, you are training your mind to serve you, not sabotage you. You're becoming the master of your energy. You're keeping your power instead of giving it away. So the next time you feel it rising, the anger, the anxiety, the urge to snap, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, who do I want to be right now? then act from that place. You won't always get it perfect, but every time you catch yourself, every time you choose calm over chaos, you're building the kind of quiet, unshakable confidence that no one can take from you. Part 3. Stop chasing approval. Live by your values. Most of us were raised on one silent rule: be liked, fit in, don't rock the boat, say what they want to hear, do what gets applause. And somewhere along the way, we start measuring our worth by how others react to us. If they approve, we feel good. If they don't respond, we spiral. If they criticize, we crumble. So we chase validation. We bend. We perform. We shrink ourselves to fit someone else's mold, even when it costs us our peace. But here's the truth the Stoics lived by. Approval is unstable. Virtue is not. When your confidence depends on someone else's reaction, you've already handed away your power, because their opinion can shift, their mood can change, their approval is never guaranteed, and yet you've tied your self-worth to it like a balloon in the wind. Epictetus put it simply: if you want to be respected by others, the greatest thing is to respect yourself. And self-respect doesn't come from applause. It comes from alignment. Do your actions match your values? Do your choices reflect your principles? Are you proud of who you are, even when no one is watching? That's the shift. Stop asking, will they like me? Start asking, will I like who I am if I do this? Because when you start living by your own compass, everything changes. You say no when something doesn't feel right, even if it disappoints people. You speak truthfully, even when silence would be easier. You stop needing everyone to agree with you, because you've already agreed with yourself. That doesn't mean you become cold or selfish. It means you become solid, rooted, clear. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in history, constantly reminded himself, just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. Not the reaction, not the outcome, not whether people understand you. Just, did I act with integrity? That's the kind of confidence that lasts. Not the fake version that needs likes and praise and approval to stay alive, but the quiet kind that comes from doing what's right, especially when no one claps for it. And ironically, when you stop chasing validation, people respect you more, because they sense it. They feel the difference between someone who's performing and someone who's real. You become magnetic, not because you're trying to impress, but because you're no longer trying to be anything but yourself. So the next time you feel that itch, the need to prove, to please, to earn someone's approval, pause. Ask yourself, what choice would I make if I already believed I was enough? What would I do if I didn't need applause to feel worthy? Then do that. Confidence isn't about being liked by everyone. It's about liking yourself enough not to care. That's what the Stoics knew. That's what you can live. That's how you build a confidence that doesn't rise and fall with the opinions of others, because it was never built on them in the first place.